Rare glimpse tonight into President Trump's personal finances.
Yeah, the summary pages of his 2005 tax return were leaked to the media. They show in that year he was a successful businessman, and he did write a very big check to the IRS.
KCAL 9 political reporter Bryan is here on what we learned, what we still don't know, and speculation on who may be behind this leak, Dave.
Absolutely. Still a lot of questions, as you indicated. One is, where did this come from, right? This could be a crime. The tax papers were obtained by a Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative reporter who has written a book about Donald Trump, but he denies he solicited anyone for the tax papers or knew anything about where they came from.
What I have here is a copy of Donald Trump's tax returns. We have his federal tax return for 1 year for 2005.
Nearly 2 months after Donald Trump became president of the United States, the information is out tonight about what he paid in taxes 12 years ago. 2 copied pages of Mr. Trump's 2005 tax return were made public on the Rachel Maddow show and confirmed by the White House. The papers showed Trump made $150 million in 2005 and paid taxes totaling about $38 million. Journalist David K. Johnston told Rachel Maddow he received the papers without having requested them.
It came in the mail over the transom, and there is absolutely nothing improper about journalists, if you haven't solicited something, getting it over the transom.
Getting it over the transom means it came without prior arrangement.
And by the way, let me point out, it's entirely possible that Donald sent this to me. Donald Trump has, over the years, leaked all sorts of things. Donald has a long history of leaking material about himself when he thinks it's in his interests.
Johnston wrote The Making of Donald Trump, a highly critical book about the rise and tactics of Mr. Trump. He says although $38 million is a lot of money, Trump still got off easy when you look at the percentage of tax paid in comparison to his income.
He paid 24%. You know who pays 24% in this country? Married couples with 2 incomes like my wife and I, who make about $400,000 a year. Donald Trump and his wife that year made $418,000 a day.
The issue of not releasing taxes plagued Donald Trump throughout his presidential campaign against Hillary Clinton.
I will release my tax returns against my lawyer's wishes when she releases her 33,000 emails.
During the campaign, the New York Times received a copy of Trump's 1995 tax documents. They show Trump reported a loss of nearly $916 million that year, a loss which some tax experts say Trump could have used to avoid paying taxes for up to 18 years. But we now know he did pay taxes in 2005. During the campaign, Trump declared no one cares about his tax returns.
Nobody cares about it except some of the folks in the media. Nobody cares about it.
And apparently he was right. Now, Johnston says the tax papers he received don't really tell us much about some of the most important tax issues for Trump.
And most importantly, what we don't have here, which is this describes the types of income, but not the sources.
Okay, so
that's what we need to know. Who is the president getting money from?
Now, the White House confirmed the numbers and issued a statement tonight saying, you know you are desperate for ratings when you are willing to violate the law to push a story about 2 pages of tax returns from 10 years ago. Before being elected president, Mr. Trump was one of the most successful businessmen in the world, with a responsibility to his company, his family, and his employees to pay no more taxes than legally required. So that was from the White House this evening.
Let's talk about this, because there are some reports out there that Donald Trump, or at least the administration, leaked this information out themselves. Is there any evidence that shows that?
I'm not sure there are necessarily reports, but there's a lot of talk about it. I'll say that. There's no evidence about that, of course, right now. But there's plenty of speculation tonight that someone on the Trump team leaked the document, perhaps on purpose. The return makes him look good, showing that he paid a lot more in taxes in that particular year. But it comes the day after we learn 24 million people could lose their health insurance under a new Republican plan, and 1 day after Mr. Trump missed the deadline to turn over any evidence that President Obama wiretapped his phone at Trump Tower. So maybe it's time to change the subject. Lots of interesting speculation so far, but no more evidence than that we know of than there is on the wiretap charge. So we don't have any evidence on a lot of stuff, Lena.
Well,